Hola mi gente, bienvenidos a mi canal. Okay, no, I cannot. I suck at Spanish, like speaking it, but I'm so understanding in Spanish. Oh, Dios mío. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I promised a lot of you guys that I was going to refilm this video because in my coming out story, I watched that video and I'm like, oh my god, I was so nervous. I was so shy of the camera. And now I'm completely comfortable with talking to you guys about this little topic. And sometimes it's okay to hear someone else's coming out story, but it takes timing. It takes a lot of going through things, and then when you finally come out to the public and you come out to your family and your friends, you feel 100 times better. And that's absolutely amazing. In the beginning of like me coming out, it wasn't as easy. It was very difficult with my family, with just being comfortable with myself. So coming out to my family was probably the hardest. I think I was more concerned about what they thought about me, and in the process I was still trying to figure out who I was and what I really liked, and yeah, it was an adventure. I feel like a lot of people go through not being able to tell their family or their friends, or not having that support system there for them during those times. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are thinking like, but how can I do this with being, as comfortable? And it definitely takes time. It takes, you being more comfortable with who you are, and then being able to explain that to your family and everyone else. So yeah, let's just start it off on how I figured out that I was actually lesbian as fuck. We're gonna start way back when. I was always back and forth with my mom and my dad from Philadelphia to Chicago, like literally all my life. I used to fly on the airplanes at such a young age, and you know how they have like those, stewardesses or whatever they are that be on the airplanes and they gotta observe and watch you. I don't know if they do that still, but that was my life, back and forth from Philadelphia to Chicago. I can't do that with my son. Like, I can't even be that comfortable with just flying him by himself to his dad's, and then his dad have, like, no, that's not how we're living. Up until my son is like 10 years old, he's not doing that, no. But I was always safe, so I guess it's kind of safe if you think about it. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So we'll start this back in Philly. So I was probably a 6th grader. And there was a female that I was really close with, and she was studdish, like she always dressed like a boy and stuff, and I didn't really understand those things because I didn't think, oh, okay, this person's gay, or I didn't really think to label the way labels are today. Like, I feel like everybody's labeling themselves, and that's how the world goes around. But no, back then it wasn't like that, and I just seen her as, a pretty person and a dope ass vibe, and she was just a good friend to me. Well, for 2.3 seconds, because that never lasted. I feel like no friendships last with me. I have trust issues, like, and that's why no friendships really last with me. I don't trust anyone. I don't know. But anyways, like, I had that friend, and she would flirt with me here and there, and I really didn't understand it, but I think I liked it a lot. And this is starting 6th grade. I always see my mom dating women or talking to women, but I didn't really understand it. But my mom was always bisexual. She dated men and women, and she was very upfront about that, and she didn't have no shame. And I remember coming home one day, and I was just like, Mom, I think I'm gay. Like, I know I'm gay. And she gave me that face like, what? You're so young, how would you know about these things? And I think I was more connected to females, and I was young as hell, and I would look at women and be like, damn, she bad, like, she's pretty as hell, or, like, I don't know, in my corazoncito, like, I just had this feeling that I knew I was gay. My mom was my best friend around that time. I mean, I feel like every mother is a daughter's best friend for a period of time. And yeah, I explained that to her, and she was just, oh, it's a phase. We're not going to talk to your dad about these things. You know, you're just confused. You're really young. You don't understand. So in my mind, I'm just like, okay, well, I'm going to listen to my mom. I'm very confused right now. I don't know what's going on with my life. But I'm just going to live. I'm just going to live it. I'm just going to play it out and see what happens. And yeah. So around 6th, 7th grade, I was straight rebel. Like, I mean, I was real close with this girl, and she'd be like, let's ditch school. And I'd be like, okay, let's ditch school. And yeah, I was really, really bad in 6th and 7th grade. And I think it was mainly because I was always around little rebels or people who did bad things. And I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to do these bad things. Not technically doing bad things, because I was pretty low-key and innocent. And yeah, so she was like, let's ditch school. We ditched school. I still remember all of this. It was really like a winter day. I had brand new Timbs on. I was feeling fresh, you know, Philly days, you know how that goes. We went to her house and we were chilling there, and so we were just hanging out and busting it up. And like, we were sitting on her couch. Her mom and her dad were not home, so it was just me and her. And I remember her leaning in, and I was just like, to do, like, what's gonna happen? Oh my god, I'm so nervous. And she like leaned in, she gave me a kiss, and right then and there I was like, I'm gay. I know for a fact, like, I'm lesbian. So I remember that day ending, like, I pretty much went home at 3:45, you know, because that's the time we got out of school. So I went straight home. My mom never caught me. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching this. I did do that. Like, I went home. I told my mom, I explained to my mom, you know, like, I kissed a girl. I really liked it. I kissed a girl and I liked it. And my mom was just like, oh my god, no you didn't. And what happened? And how was your experience? And I explained to her, like, I was very comfortable with telling my mother a lot of things that I was so afraid to tell my father. My dad was always firm, and that voice, like, I used to be shitting bricks, okay? Like, I was always scared of my dad. Like, always scared of my dad. So, like, she was just like, we're not gonna tell him. It's gonna be our secret. And, yeah, so this girl ended up becoming my girlfriend for a little while. I wouldn't say she was my girlfriend, because I feel like we were just, like, seeing each other and walking each other to class. And, yeah, we were really, really young. So that was my first actual experience with learning my sexuality. After that, I think I was just dating boys and figuring out myself. And I remember, like, my mom going through, you know, this little incident, if you will. And I had to move back to my dad's, and my brothers moved with their father. And I was pretty upset. I was really, really sad. But I was going into the 8th grade. I remember this. I was going into the 8th grade, and I met a girl. She wrote me a letter, and she was like, you're so pretty and all this stuff. And I was just like, ya lo sé, papi, yo lo sé. Okay, no, I wasn't that cocky. I think I was always just very confident in myself. I wasn't really cocky. And I remember reading that letter, and she was like, do you want to talk? Like, do you want to be my girlfriend? You know, that yes and no, you circle it or whatever. And there was like a little maybe. And I remember I circled the maybe, and I gave it to her. And then she didn't live too far from my house, so we walked home from school together, and she was like holding my hands and stuff. And I was just like, what is this? Like, what are we doing here? Like, we would go to the park and we would hang out, and she would claim like we were girlfriend. And yeah, I don't really know into detail like what happened with that, but we never got along, and that ended. And like, her sisters never liked me, so that's it. We end that. So that was my second little relationship, or friendship, if you will. And yeah, that didn't work out. Like, I had nobody to talk to about these situations, and again, I was just winging it out, seeing what was gonna happen next. So after, I believe, 8th grade, we moved to So we were in Chicago and we moved to a suburb called Mundelein. I was swinging it like I was just doing my own thing, but in reality, I did not. That's when I really, like, once we moved to Mundelein, that's when I really realized, like, I like boys, but not to the extent where I'm really happy with being around a woman and being around women who like the things that I liked. So that took a very long time. But my family didn't know. We were staying with my grandmother and my aunt. Well, I was always with my aunt, literally, like, all my life with my aunt. And I remember, like, there was this one girl, she taught me how to do makeup, and I was like, yo, I love this. This is so good. She didn't teach me how to do makeup. She kind of taught me to, like, put makeup on and, like, the basics to feel confident in myself, because I used to always see her wearing makeup, and this is around high school, so you know damn well all these girls were rocking makeup except for me. And I remember we were talking for a little bit, none of that. Like, we kissed on the bus like one time, and I was so freaking cheesy. And yeah, nobody knew about it. No one knew about that situation, and I mean, we're gonna run this back to MySpace days. So I made an account on MySpace. Well, my friend had made me an account. My grandmother was so against MySpace. Like, yo, when I tell you guys, we used to get in so much trouble just for being on MySpace. We got in trouble, okay? But I had, like, a MySpace account. My friend had made me one. And I never really got called up until my cousin got called. And then she was like, well, Cassie got one. And then I got in trouble. Oh my god, I was so mad. Like, you a snitch, KK. You a big snitch. I remember having a MySpace account, and that's when I really started to, like, hit up females. Social media is the way, huh? Like, you just have to be confident and slide in the DMs. It goes down in the DM. So I was really confident. I slid in this girl's DMs, and we started to talk, always on MySpace. And I never met her, but we always planned to meet. I was in the suburbs, but during the summertime, I had, like, this little summer job that my dad had hooked me up with, and it was at, like, a little hair salon, and I was washing towels and washing pelo and sweeping floors and making sure that the salon stood clean. First job, and I was making some good money. Like, at that time, I was young, so I was thinking, I'm making chavo, okay? Dollar bill, yo. So I remember me and her just talking about how we are going to meet up. We're gonna link up, and it sure did happen that way. So my aunt was going to the city to go visit her mans, and that was the first time I actually had told pretty much a close family friend. I remember I had told her because she was the one telling me about, you know, she used to date women and all this stuff, and I felt comfortable, so I told her. And I remember I was rushing this day. Like, I was texting this girl. I was like, I'm on my way to my dad's house. I can't wait to see you. You guys, I was so cheesy. I was so excited to meet this girl. Like, this is the first time, like, I was actually gonna meet somebody. She was pretty upset because I was dragging that entire day. It wasn't my fault. It was my aunt's fault. And but we had already planned this. My dad was out DJing. Sorry, Dad. You know this story already. He was so mad at me. He was so mad at me. So I remember she texted me. She was like, okay, well, like, are you coming to your dad's house? Like, I've been waiting outside. Like, what's going on? And I was explaining to the girl, you know, like, it's not my fault. I'm trying to rush. I'm trying to get back home. I want to see her. But, you know, I had some things going on. And so finally my aunt drops me off to my dad's house. My phone's dead. But my dad had these, like, stairs, right? And so when you get in the hallway, the light turns on. I was walking up the stairs, and I see at the door there's, like, something hanging. It was, like, a little red bag. It's crazy that I still remember this stuff. It was a little red bag, and it was, like, a flower in it. Little chocolate kisses. Those are my favorite candies of all time. I love those little cute chocolate kisses. They're just so cute. I don't really mess with chocolate anymore, but at the time, that was my favorite chocolate. She knew. She got me a rose. She know I love roses, even though I feel like flowers is for the dead. At least one rose is just so beautiful. And in the rose, it was something shiny, and I remember, like, pulling it out, and it was like a little promise ring. And I hit her up once my phone was charged, and I was like, hey, I'm at my dad's house. My dad is still out. I just seen, you know, this little gift. Thank you so much. That was so cute. And I was cheesy, you guys. What a fucking cheese bag I was, okay? She came and literally 30 seconds right after that message. Like, so she had to be around. She was somewhere around. She was older than me. She drove her own car. I was with it. She's like, I'm downstairs. So I was like, oh my God. So I'm looking in the mirror. I'm like, oh my God, do I look okay? Like, am I cute right now? Like, back then I didn't wear makeup as much as I do now. So I was pretty barefaced. And, yeah, so I go downstairs. I open the door. She came, you know, she like hugging on me. We're talking. We're hanging out. And, so we're just relaxing, hanging out. We're talking, getting to know one another. And you guys know how it goes. One thing leads to another, and you know, el freco starts to happen. We're not gonna get into the TMI, pero shit got real right after, you know, the stuff started to happen. So, I had my own room, but my dad had the nice bed set and stuff. So I was just like, you know what, we just gonna do this. So we went to my dad's room, and you know, the business was handled, and that was my first time doing anything with a woman. And I really wish that my situation didn't have to end like that, but oh my God. When I tell you guys, my heart dropped. So I hear the front door open, and I'm like, oh, nope. Crazy thing is, she didn't hear anything. So she's still kissing on me and stuff, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm screwed. I'm in trouble. Yo, so I pushed her off. I remember I pushed her like, yo, you got shh. So I'm like, shh. Like, put your clothes on. Here we go, put your fucking clothes on. I remember saying, put your fucking clothes on. This dickhead going really stand in the back of the door. So my dad, say like this is the room. My dad's bed was right here. His door is literally right here. So I'm looking out the door and I see him. So my dad was pretty much trying to be sneaky and catch me up on what I was doing. This is where I fucked up at. What I did was I texted my dad to let me know before he got home. My dad is one smart man, okay? This man is smart. Maybe because he probably did some of these things himself that he knew what his child was doing. So he over there sneaking, and I'm like, oh. So I had to put my shirt on and stuff, but I didn't have no shorts on or nothing. So he opens the door, he turned on the light. What the fuck's going on? I was like, and then he was like, there better not be no guy behind here. There better not be no man behind here. And I was just like, that's when the tears started gushing, because you guys don't understand. My dad was so strict that I felt the need to be sneaky in order to do what I wanted to do. I'm sure it was all good intentions, him telling me right from wrong, what not to be doing, what to be doing. But in my mind, that's not how it was set up, okay? I was gonna risk doing things so that I could be living just like every other teenager was doing, okay? Like, I just didn't want to sit around and wait for my timing. Like, no. He was real strict, so he's like, he grabs the door and he pulls it. So he just like, and then like, he made this weird face like, what the fuck's going on in here? He sees her and he's like, what the fuck, Cassandra? Like, I think he was more lost for words because I never sat there and explained to him. So in his mind, he probably did think it was a guy. It wasn't. It was a girl. And I know he was so hurt and shocked. And man, for what was that? So he gets out of the room and she starts getting dressed. I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do. Like, I'm explaining to her, like, I don't know, like, why the fuck did we do this? I don't know. Like, I'm here arguing with her like if it was her fault, but she didn't know. Like, she didn't know that my family didn't know about me. I was so sad, Dito. I was sad because his face, and I think I cared so much about my father's opinion. I always do. That's the thing. I always care for what my dad thinks of certain situations. He was like, get the fuck out here right now. That's when he started to toughen up. And then, okay, like, if I could be like, no, I said no. Like, I wish I could. But y'all know how that shit go. You ain't trying to get that ass whooped at no young age. So, especially now with my dad had them hands. So he's sitting on the couch and he's like, when the fuck were you gonna tell me why, how this happened? And he's crying, but he's in shock. He calls my grandmother, my aunt, my mom. My aunt, I think, were more like, okay, I already knew it. And I finally see my aunt in person. Like, she gave me the biggest hug and she was like, I'm happy if you're happy. And that's all that matters. And I always valued my aunt's opinion, because if it ain't one person who knows the business and everything, it's her. Like, she was definite. She's always been like my rock, and I'm so thankful that she was able to be the one to, you know, raise me and all that stuff, because I learned a lot from her in my life. I learned a very, very lot. My dad, he gets off the phone, he's really, really pissed off, and he's like, she gotta fucking go. She better get the fuck out this house. She better get, like, he acting tough in front of this girl, and this girl, she was just so calm, like. But I was like, you need to get your stuff, you gotta go. And so she was like, just hit me up later or something. My dad took away my phone, read every text message that me and her were sending back and forth. Thank God there was no other text messages in that phone. And at the time I had a little stupid flip phone, okay? So he was reading every text message. I stood up all night crying. I was so sad and hurt that night, you guys, that I just stood there crying and crying and crying. And after that, I never seen that girl again. Like, we never spoke again. It was just like a poof. So I had to just let that go, and yeah, I never seen her again after that. But, like, after a while, my dad started to open up. He started to be comfortable around me, and that's when I was more comfortable dating women. And that was like, I was, in high school, I was always back and forth. So back then, I was definitely bisexual as fuck. But I was comfortable, and my family knew about it. And the way they ended up finding out about it, I wish I was able to sit there and explain to them, like, you know, hey, I'm gay. I was so nervous. But at least they ended up finding out through that experience of me getting caught. Everybody adjusted. The only thing, like, my grandmother would throw, like, little, you know, shade and be like, oh, you guys can't, like, telling my girl cousins they can't get dressed in front of me. And I would just sit there and think, like, these are my cousins. I don't know how other families get down, but these are my family members. And yeah, I never thought like that. I was pretty hurtful. I was really hurt with those little, you know, indirectas and stuff. But I mean, I learned to be happy and just live my life for me, because at the end of the day, I am living for me and my health and my happiness. So that took a major part. Once I got comfortable with my sexuality, that's when I didn't give a fuck. I just did not give a fuck what anyone said about me. I mean, to this day, I literally don't give a fuck. But yeah, that's how I came out. That was my coming out story. It's one for the books. I always say that every time a person tells me, you know, how'd you come out to your family, or how'd your family find out? I always state it's one for the books, because that was a momento in my life that I will never, ever forget. And I've come so far today, obviously. And I'm happy. And I'm happy, you guys. I am extremely happy with the choices I've made in life, with how I came out, with, you know, just being me. So never feel like you have to be in silence. I feel like it's always best to talk to a family member or a friend about these situations in your life, because that can really take a lot of weight off of your shoulders and really help you understand yourself better over being quiet and not telling anyone about these situations. So hard when you don't have someone there. I completely understand it. But once you release what you have to say to these people, or to your friends, family, if you will, and it ends up feeling so good, because they might not be excited for you, or they might not be happy for you at that current moment of you telling them, but family is always family, and real friends will always stick around you know, to the very end. So I feel like you just have to be comfortable and explain to them. And even if they're not speaking to you for a week or two, let that ride out, and that's when you will really understand who's there for you through those situations and who really isn't. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. Comment down below your coming out story, or definitely link your coming out story in the comments down below, because I would love to watch. I am a big fan of watching people's coming out stories. Oh, it's so much happiness within these stories, and people release all that and then they feel so comfortable with themselves. So I just feel like that's simply amazing. Until next time, it's been real. Peace.